I'm not a chef and I'd never really done it before, but he said, all right, we'll just do this, and just let that business get on there. It's because there's this whole network of PRs like myself. Back yourself and follow your passions and trust your gut feeling.
Welcome to Dining Room Stories with Domar and Andrea, where we take you behind the scenes of the restaurant business world with stories and conversation that inspire. Today, we are joined by the founder and director of Beyond and Above PR. From lawyer and government advisor to restaurant owner and now PR professional, her journey, it's all about reinvention, resilience, and storytelling. Welcome to Dining Room Stories, Julia Hume.
Oh, thank you, Omar. That was a lovely introduction.
Thanks, Julia, for being here. Really happy to have you here and would love to hear your story.
Thank you.
We are very excited to hear all your stories and, to listen to your experience. Well,
thank you. It's a very interesting role reversal today because normally I'm arranging podcast interviews for my clients. And now here I am.
Here we go. Norma, you are the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So how was this? Your career just been moving towards different paths and sections. So how did it happen?
Yes. So in a nutshell, I started off as a lawyer. Then I was working in public policy for the government for 10 years. Then I threw that all away to open up a restaurant because, why wouldn't you? And then after I closed the restaurant, I moved into PR.
And so were all these changes smooth, and did you carry experience all over?
Oh, definitely.
I would say lives. Can you define?
Life experience, but skills as well. So I feel like what I'm doing now in PR is very similar to what I was doing in government. It was using the same skills of communication and diplomacy.
Lots of diplomacy.
Project management, yeah. Yep. And when I was running the restaurant, I used to say, it's the same as what I was doing in government, just with better food, because it was just about managing people and managing the project and managing all the different pieces of the business. And
so food at government is not really good, right?
It's
not really good. I always say.
It was a really great experience, and the skills I learned there set me up for life, honestly. But it wasn't my passion, public policy. It's a great thing. It's very important that the country is run in a proper way. But, I just like the good food and the adrenaline. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie because I also had a passion for music and acting when I was younger. So, yeah, and that's a lot of the work I do now in PR is hospitality and music because they're my passions. But then I also had the very analytical side to my brain, so I do a lot of business PR and business awards writing, and I'm working with a security company now.
All right.
So, yeah, a few different things.
A lot of different projects. I love music, and I was actually at Amel free concert the other night.
Oh, no.
And it's been cancelled. Yeah. It's been a bit disappointing. But, Melbourne is a beautiful city because of art, culture, and music, I would say.
It is, and they're very linked. I find a lot of people, if they love food, they love music as well, just the really sensory passions.
Are you originally from Melbourne?
I am. I was born here, grew up here, always lived here, apart from travelling sporadically. But, yeah, I'm a Melbourne girl. If I'm going to be in Australia, I'll be in Melbourne. I like to visit other places. I love to visit Sydney, but I would never want to live.
I lived in Sydney 1 year. It's been great, but enough. Whatever. Melbourne for a long time. And yeah, so Julia, can you explain to our audience what is PR? Because that's probably a simple concept, but not everyone understood what it is.
Yeah. Well, for me and my clients, it's mainly about getting earned media coverage. So when you open up a newspaper and you see them talking about a business or a restaurant, you're like, how did they get that? Or if you get on broadsheet, you're like, how did that restaurant get an article written about them?
That's a great question.
Or you turn on the news and you're like, how did that business get on there? It's because there's this whole network of PRs like myself that are telling these stories and reaching out to the media and saying, this is a story that I think you should run because the public wants to know about it. And so you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay to get on an earned media spot on TV or in a newspaper, which makes it very different from advertising, which you're paying for. But if you can tell your story in a way that's newsworthy then it will get published for free. And so that's what I'm trying to do for my clients, because advertising has its place and social media has its place, but that what you get from PR is third-party endorsements. So instead of saying, oh, I'm wonderful, somebody else with authority is saying, this business is wonderful, this restaurant is wonderful. And that is just absolute gold, and it's so valuable when you've got somebody else saying, you're great.
This is beautiful, like, because I'm an SEO, so I do search engine optimization a long time. So the PR has been also like a way to generate backlinks.
Oh, yeah, PR is gold for SEO.
Right?
And increasingly now the new thing is the LEO, the language engine optimization. So how you can get yourself found on ChatGPT and all the other
large
AI
language
platforms.
models.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So basically we were doing like PR like 10, 15 years ago in a way that was more simple. Just a few publications were fine and you can get like that kind of authority. But the more we moved through like a different era of the SEO space, and also with AI, for sure, as Julia is saying, you need mention, but also quality mentions, right?
Yes. Yeah, because the algorithm will prioritize media in big authoritative outlets like big newspapers or The Guardian or Broadsheet over others. So,
can anyone work in PR, or do you need to have certain skills or personality?
Well, I was doing my own PR when I had the restaurants. That's how I got into it, when I had Pentolina. Actually, when the pandemic hit, I think that's when I really started doing it, because I had no budget for marketing or PR. So, yeah, I learned how to do it. I did a course, how to do PR, handle your own PR, and then I just did it myself.
That's great. Like Pentolina is such a beautiful name. It means like small pot, right?
Little saucepan. Yeah.
Tall saucepan, right?
And it was a beautiful restaurant.
Oh, thank you very much.
I've been there.
Yeah, it was lovely. And it's been almost 3 years now, I realised, on the way here. It was December 22 that I closed it down. So,
what inspired you to open Pentolina?
Well, so this story goes back to my ex-husband. We split up, but he always had this. He was always worked in hospitality. I met him when he was working at Pellegrini's, where he was working for 20 years, and he'd grown up in a hospitality family. He's actually from Sydney, so his family, his uncles and father all came over to Sydney from Italy back in the 60s and opened up a series of restaurants, including the Grotta Capri, which is a really famous Sydney restaurant. But so he always had this passion for hospitality, and I kind of, from my time with him, I developed a passion too. But I never expected to work in hospitality. He always had this dream to open up his restaurant. And when the time came, he was like, right, I'm actually going to do this. I'd been working for the government for 10 years and I was unhappy. I was ready to move on. And I was like, yeah, I'll join you. I'll come and we'll do it together as a partnership. So I jumped in and, well, the rest is history. And, unfortunately, we split up about a year in.
When did you open Pentolina?
So
before the pandemic?
It was before. It was May 2018. So then 2019, we split up and my husband decided to move back to Sydney to be closer to his family. So, and I made the decision to carry on the restaurant on my own, because by that stage, I just absolutely loved it. Which you'll understand, when you get that bug for the hospitality, you just can't.
And I think you did a great job once you were running the restaurant.
Yeah, it was
and
a
obviously it was unfortunate that the pandemic hit.
Yeah, so the pandemic hit obviously in 2020. So kept it running through that and thought, if we can just get through to the end of all these lockdowns, we'll be fine. But yeah, everything sort of collided in 2022 because even though all the restaurants were back open, as you know, all the costs went up, all the wages went up, all the insurance went up, and in the meantime, people couldn't afford to eat out much anymore, so they weren't coming out. So, and the clincher for me was my lease was about to expire, and the rent was too high. It was way above market value, and unfortunately, we were locked into a rent increase every year with no right of market review. That's just something we agreed to when we signed the lease in 2018, which seemed like a great idea at the time. It's like, we've got
learn.
a really great rent.
Yeah.
We're going to lock it in so that they can't put it up in 5 years. And as it turned out, and then we couldn't
This is
couldn't
called
get it to-
experience.
Yeah.
Running a restaurant is a performance itself. You know, you're always managing people
Yep.
more than customers and eating food, even if that's what we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any experience that you've taken with you after running the restaurant? Would you open another restaurant again?
Look, maybe if I had a business partner, I think it was tough to do it on my own. The only reason I managed is because I had such an incredible team and a very loyal team. I had my head chef, Gabriele Olivieri, was with me from 2018 and all through the pandemic through to the end. So having him leading the kitchen was just gold, because I'm not a chef and I'd never really done it before, but he said, all right, we'll just do this, and just made it all happen. And he kept a very loyal team of chefs with him. So that was great. And I had a couple of fantastic restaurant managers as well, managing that side of the business. So you need a great team. But still, when your team are all your employees, it does make it more challenging. So, yeah, I would definitely have a strong team of owners if I were to do it again. And maybe investing in PR in advance, getting really advanced notice. I think we left it a bit late.
Do a lot of restaurants or restaurateurs underestimate the power of PR?
I think so, especially now that we've got social media, which is such a powerful tool, and you definitely need that. That's great, but I don't think it's enough on its own, because like I said, it's when you're putting the word out there yourself, it's not as valuable as when you've got third parties saying you're great.
And I had some experience with that, and I agree with you, because, coming obviously from social media, you always think I can do it myself, will help. But then, you start sending emails and nobody replies to you, and you feel like frustrated, or that you don't have a compelling story to tell. And then some professionals come on board, they rewrite the entire story, and everybody wants you in.
Yep. Yeah, so social media and PR, they are very complementary, because, of course, if you get a good media mention, you can put that across all your social media and that amplifies it. But the way you communicate your story through social media and through PR is different. It's a different type of storytelling. So I specialize in the PR side, which is making it newsworthy. And look, I do a bit of social media too, but it's very, very different language.
In general, it is like building authority. It's so important today. And you've been really successful with Pentolina, right? Because you got exposure on publications and big papers. So how did you feel in that specific moment? Because now you're a professional, right? But how did you feel at that stage?
Oh, the adrenaline rush. It's it's like the rush of service, that adrenaline. Like when you get a PR win, it's like, yes. So with Pentolina, we got a couple of great wins really early on. A few months after opening, we were featured on the TV show, A Movable Feast, with Kate Stevenson and Ross Stevenson. So that was fantastic. That came to air, and on the night it went to the air, our booking system was just going ping, 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 with people just booking in. It was just fantastic. So it's definitely worth getting it done early on. I think the biggest mistake restaurants make is waiting too late. The best PR campaigns start way before the restaurant is even open. Like look at like Daphne that's just opened from Hannah Green. We heard about this 6 months ago in the press that she's opening this new restaurant. We seem to be getting progress reports every month on it, when it was going to open. And then it's finally opened last week and it's just exploded by the looks of it. Fantastic. It's already been reviewed. It needs to be full. So
that's a very good point that you said, because most restaurants, they start marketing or PR, social media very late, when they are in trouble. And then it's very hard to recover from that.
It is. And then because you only really get one chance to make a big splash and get your messaging out there. And if you don't tell your story yourself, then the media will tell their own story. They'll come up with their own version and their own interpretation of what your venue does. And they might get it right or they might get it wrong.
Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel to get updates and keep enjoying the rest of the episode.
So,
For journalists, openings are great because there's something new to talk about. That's why they're called news. But how do you stay relevant and sustainable with the PR campaign? Once you had your big exposure at the beginning, how do you keep staying relevant for those journalists?
well, there's a few different ways you can do it. Ongoing thought leadership from the business owners. So that's what I do with my clients. I pitch the owners, both individually and collectively, for interviews and media appearances or articles. Like I've got one client who's a fantastic Italian sommelier. And so we've got him featured on a website writing articles about how to collect wine and how to choose wine. You can do PR around events. So if you've got special events planned, you can get PR for those. You can pitch yourself for reviews or try and get featured in roundups like Best Italian Restaurants or Best New Year's Eve events, those sort of ongoing roundups that the media does. And one of my clients is a great example is she's written a book, a cookbook. So we've done a massive publicity campaign around that, which has given publicity not just for the book, but all the 3 businesses that are behind it. So
And they see a difference and an increase in bookings and exposure, obviously.
Definitely, because it's all cumulative. You want to be, well, the big splash at the start is good, but then you'd want to keep on coming up in the media again and again at regular interviews.
So it's not a one-off process. It is you build authority through PR
absolutely
along the track, right?
And it's not, building it and keeping it there and hopefully escalating. Because if you drop off, then people forget about you. Unfortunately, you've got to keep on putting yourself out there.
So Julia, do you need a strategy? Do you recommend a strategy to your clients?
Yeah, definitely. It starts off with developing your message and your story and going back to basics, what sets you apart from the others, what makes you innovative, and then working out how's the best way that we can get that message across and what are your goals? I mean, ultimately, we're not doing PR just for your ego. Yeah, it's nice to see your name mentioned in a newspaper, but if it's not bringing customers in, well, what's the point?
Oh,
You need to know who are your customers? What are they reading? What are they watching? How can we reach them? And that drives the strategy.
Julia, I've spoken to many restaurateurs that have very successful restaurants, but they've never been interviewed or are in newspapers. And there is a sense of bit of resentment between those people that the journalists, they always interview or publish the same people or groups.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can understand the frustration, but to those people, I would say you've got to put yourself out there. Like you hire a publicist if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, because a lot of these people are modest and that's why they feel like they're overlooked. But I think people are reluctant to put themselves out there because they don't want to be showy. They are humble. But I say, look, don't think of it as talking yourself up or selling yourself. Just think about it as giving people information they want to know. Because, if you're a restaurateur with 20 years experience or running an iconic restaurant, people are really interested to hear about you. So you don't need to hold back and you don't need to feel like you're putting yourself forward. You're just genuinely giving people information that they want to know. And I feel like that helps wash off some of that resistance because people in this industry, they have incredible knowledge and incredible experience that are very interesting.
And people buy from people.
Absolutely. And I find the best PR is it brings the founder's story into it and it puts the founders and the personalities front and center because, a pizza is a pizza, but who's making it? Why is it so special?
We had just a conversation with Francesco from Rocella. You can talk hours and hours.
Yeah, that's why I
about.
said pizza, because I could see the
Because
pizza.
I saw the pizza there. I was like, yeah. I think everyone has a beautiful story, and we actually discussed in the previous episode that everyone is an expert today on social media. How do you find people that have an interesting stories and to tell, and how can we give them the space that they deserve?
But well, I think what you guys are doing is great. Creating this platform
Oh,
for
thank you.
restaurateurs. Like the more platforms we have, the better. But podcasts, like there's some great podcasts now, including this one. As we've got some great digital media sites for restaurants and hospitality. You know, Broadsheet and Situ is one of the newer ones. Plus Time Out and Concrete Playground, Urban List have been there for a while. Good food, obviously, and delicious. And sorry, what was the question? It was how can we
Present stories like, so let's say, and let's phrase it differently, like people have different personality types.
Mm.
A lot of like really good chefs and restaurateurs, they're shy, so they don't like to be on the camera. So what we're trying to do also is like creating like a nice space when people can express themselves. And have you found some creators or some restaurateurs that are great at what they do, but they're a bit shy? So how can we help them getting out and tell the beautiful story?
Yeah, well, hire a publicist that can help you, and let's create more platforms. And the creators of those platforms should be going out and finding those untold stories, and not just going back to the same people. And I think that's partly why we see the same people all the time.
We always see the same people.
Yeah, just because journalists have relationships with those people, and it's just easier for them to go to straight to the same people.
Are food critics still relevant in today's world?
Definitely. I think that's a very valuable source of information. It's a great service for the public to be able to read a review, a really in-depth review, and say, okay, that's what that experience was like for that reviewer. But is that the only resource that restaurant goers should be looking at? I don't believe so, no, because after all, food critics, they're just one opinion, and there's many different ways to get information about restaurants.
You know, we had seen the food critic space now has evolved, and it feels like it has become more an opinion base rather than, you know, like judging a place or a restaurant without, you know, putting their personal opinion there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that restaurant owners are getting very frustrated with reviews, and I can understand why.
They do.
Yeah.
I confirm. Yeah.
Because there's not always a set system that underpins those reviews, and that's why it can be very hard, and restaurant owners take it personally when they don't agree with the review, or if they're just not reviewed at all.
We were discussing with Jesse Singh before. He was saying with his experience in New York before, you know, food critics had to eat 3 or 4 times in a restaurant because before giving a score or judging the restaurant. While now it feels, you know, you just go one time and maybe you have a bad experience. But obviously no restaurateurs wants to provide a bad experience. And you're just getting penalized for that. And he was saying, you know, everything has evolved with social media because, you know, everybody is becoming a food critic, all of us. You know, we all have a voice, but sometimes we don't have the expertise to understand what's going on in that particular moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what hurts most for restaurant owners is when a reviewer or someone on an influencer on social media, they'll criticize the food, or they say, oh, this wasn't quite done right. And they don't actually have the expertise to know what was happening. And
to be honest with you, even a bad review has become good exposure.
Yeah.
So not always a bad review, because you always have there's not an absolute truth now. There's always 2 points of views. And even if you get a bad review, you got a 50% of the audience that doesn't agree with that and will give you more support.
Yep.
So I've seen that there's been, a positive outcome.
I think consumers are pretty savvy now, and they're not all just relying on the Good Food Guide now, which is a great resource, but it's not like 45 years ago when that was the only resource and an incredible tool. But now we've got so many different platforms, and some people will prioritize the Good Food Guide review. Other people will prioritize an influencer with 100,000 followers. Other people will prioritize, a roundup on Urban List of the best restaurants. So everyone's got the different places they go to, and it's just a case of not taking it personally. I know restaurateurs are very emotional people, and it can hurt.
It's a lot of swings there.
Yeah, like I totally get it. But I think, we all need to realize that the food review space has moved on over time and is continuing to evolve, and just take the positives from it and just ignore the negatives.
Have you ever had any experience with that where, you pitch a newspaper and you got the review for the client, but it was a negative review instead of a positive one?
I think. Actually, I have a client that's a creative arts organization in Brisbane, and we just had a review that was overall positive, but it had some comments in it which really, really hurt.
And that upset the customer?
Yeah, it upset all of us.
Do they get angry with you or?
No, they're very understanding and savvy of this is how it works. If you put yourself out, we requested the review. So if you're requesting a review, you have to be understanding if it's not.
You will get judged.
That you will get judged. I think. But with restaurants, you're not generally requesting the review. These reviewers just come in unannounced. So, actually, when we had Pentalina, we had the Herald Sun come in on a Monday night, and the head chef wasn't there, and they'd run out of some ingredients, and the restaurant manager wasn't there, and I wasn't there, and anyway, the review was not as good as we'd hoped, even though it was overall positive. But there were some things that would only have happened as a one-off that went wrong. And so that it was painful, but hey, we still got a really great write-up in the Herald Sun, a great photo, and that's just the way things go. And I don't think anyone even really saw it or mentioned it, or I think it was still
and as
a
you
great
said
showcase
before,
to
it
have.
is exposure.
Yeah.
So
they came in and took photos. The photos looked great, so it was overall good.
Usually when I speak with chefs or restaurant owners, they might receive like 100 positive reviews, but then there is one that is bad. And that's where it gets upsetting, right?
we all focus on that one negative.
I think
you don't see the positive.
I think that's human. Like, it's the human brain. Like, so you say, oh, you can do good. But at one point, it's just
but
one.
even the Google reviews, like the Google reviews can be brutal. We had a very high Google rating at Pentalina. I think it was 4.8, although as soon as it gets high, then people start giving you bad reviews because the expectations change. So, but sometimes you just get a review where it was just so horrible or really personal or like, or I don't know, they found some mistake with the food. It was completely a one-off, and you apologize to them, or they didn't even mention it at the time, and then they'll just post a brutal Google review. So it hurts, but I think consumers realize that you're always going to have people that have had a bad day and are going to post a bad review, and it's not a reflection on the restaurant.
Oh yeah, the classic one is like you get a bad review because the Uber driver or the Uber delivery was bad, and a lot of times just you get like 1 star, but it's not actually the restaurant fault.
Oh,
it's
yes.
because Uber delivered
Or
bad.
they give you 1 star because you wouldn't let them in because you were full.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even allowed?
But the good customers that are the one that you want will understand that. They don't even look at that negative ones anymore.
No.
At the beginning, like few years back, yes.
But that's why we recommend to all restaurateurs and clients that we work with with marketing and stuff to reply well also to bad reviews, because people read the nice reviews, but also how you handle negative comments.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I always did that, even the bad ones, and sometimes tried to contact them out via email if I knew who it was, just to try and sort it out. But yeah, I think it's more, you're right. It's how you respond to those bad reviews that sets you apart.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think because the authority is like, of course, being mentioned like on big important papers and newspaper, but also how do you handle clients and relationships every day? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's how you handle the crises, not avoiding them in the first place. So,
Is it harder to work in PR or as a restaurateur?
as a restaurateur, yeah, PR is challenging, but it's just and especially because I'm a sole operator working from home, I got no overheads. Like I'm just be in my living room. It's just so much easier. I don't have staff. It's just different.
Yeah. But do you miss that adrenaline of day to day?
Yeah.
It's like completely different, right?
It's that feeling of everything's all happening behind the scenes and you're all gearing up to the opening, and then 5:30 hits, the doors swing open and the customers come in and the food's out and it's showtime. That's the best feeling.
Do you feel more comfortable to be the front face of the business or being behind the scenes of many businesses?
Well, I am the front face of my PR business now because it's just me.
You definitely are.
Yeah. But
your preference is more to manage the behind the scenes of these businesses, or not really?
I think you got to do both these days. It's hard to succeed if you're just hiding in the background. You've got to put yourself out there.
And people want to know who's also behind the business, even the PR business as well.
Yeah, I think
you want to see a person.
Yeah, people, especially in PR, they want to work with people, not some faceless company.
So you've been on both sides as the business owner and now the storyteller. How does that shape your approach to clients?
Oh, well, I think I understand what business owners are going through and how it feels to have the pressures and to have the desire to be seen. I really relate to that feeling that a lot of my clients have if they feel overlooked, like everyone else is getting noticed above them. So I get that, and that gets me really fired up because I really want to get results for people, because the clients that I work with, they're just all amazing people, inspiring people. Like anyone that's got the guts to open up a business is just incredible, in my opinion. And so it's not hard to find the motivation to put them out there. Yeah. And having been a business owner myself, I understand the cost pressures and like the desire to not want to waste anything. So I don't like to waste my time or don't want to waste their money. That's why beyond and above. I just want to go above and beyond to get results.
You work really hard for your clients.
Yeah. And just hands-on. I worked for the government in a large organisation, which is just massive, and you see how much waste there is now. How much, some projects I would work on for a year, like full-time for a year, and then it just got shelved. I'm like, what have I done? And they're like, oh, no, it's still valuable because at least the work was done. But it doesn't feel very valuable. It just feels deflating. And then you run a restaurant and literally everything counts. Every dollar counts. Every gram of food counts. Every minute of staff labor counts. You don't want to waste anything. And so that's the mentality I bring into my business now in my PR campaigns. I don't like waste.
So it's a story of dedication and professionalism, I would say. As a woman, have you ever felt that it was harder for you compared to other genders?
Yeah, definitely as a woman in hospitality, but not so much with my team, more just with like tradies and people that would come in and say, oh, where's your husband? And yeah, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you feel like when you had those kind of interactions?
Oh, it just fired me up to prove them wrong and to get my hands, roll up my sleeves and check out these defects and speak to the plumbers and figure out why things weren't working. And and I guess the other side that makes it challenging to be a woman is because I have a child who's now 12. So yeah, you're trying to juggle all the parenting with the business management. Being my own boss was fine because my staff was like, well, I'm not coming to work tonight. I'm at home with my son. So that was fine. But it just makes it difficult because you do sometimes you've got to put your restaurant first and sometimes you put your child first. Sometimes you're like, okay, he's got a trumpet concert tonight. I've got hardly any staff. I'm going to leave the restaurant in the hands of my 18-year-old waitress and see how that goes.
And as parents, we're always living with that sense of guilt.
Yeah, you're always going to let somebody down, but that's universal when you're a parent. It's always hard to make the juggle work. So, but you do your best. They're both your babies. Your restaurant is your baby. Your baby is your baby. You do what you can.
I'm sure you do the best you can, and sometimes we also need to let it go, right? And let things happen the way they should. Or do you like more taking control over situations and the work activities?
Well, we have to learn not to stress about the things we can't control. I think focus on what you can control.
Especially during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. That was tough to roll with the punches, and the goalposts kept on changing every week and you didn't know. So
it's been a tough period.
Yeah,
for
I think we're all
restaurants
burnt from that, and yeah, it definitely changed my approach to work forever. I think that's my resistance to waste. That's a big part of coming from the pandemic. But let's look on the positive side. It taught us resilience, and to be able to deal with things and make changes quickly.
Yeah, I would say it's been a tough time here in Melbourne during like the pandemic, but also for the hospitality side, 100%, like what it changed is like a lot of people from the CBD, they actually moved out. And so like all the suburbs now are having like a different kind of life, and all the local restaurants are getting better and they get more exposure.
Yeah, and people working from home more, especially on Mondays and Fridays, which has made it tough for the city, but good for the suburbs.
And thanks to your work, they're getting a lot of exposure, which before, all the good restaurants and all the exposure was in the CBD or the central Melbourne.
Yeah, and now we've got it all over the suburbs and all over the country. All the country towns are just on fire now. They're going from strength to strength. So,
Julia, you built a career helping others shine. What keeps you inspired behind the scenes?
Like I said, I find my clients incredibly inspiring and gutsy. So I love to make them shine, especially because most of them are modest and humble and don't quite like to put themselves out there. And I'm very motivated by the adrenaline of a PR win. This is my adrenaline junkie side. It's when an article gets published, something comes out, it's like, yes. That's the exciting part of the job that keeps me motivated. Because a lot of PR can be a bit boring and depressing, to be honest. When you're sending out 100 emails and not getting many responses, it's frustrating. But then when you get that win, it could just be one really high quality win. So, like my security company client, we just got in the Herald Sun, page 3 a couple of weeks ago. Yes. So
it's a big one.
Yeah. And then sometimes articles come out that you weren't even expecting. Because that often happens with restaurants. It's not all about proactive outreach from your publicist.
So it's just planting seeds everywhere
and then
until
the more
one
your reputation
flourishes.
gets out there, then people start coming to you. So they're great too.
And there's been like a big and massive change in the last few years, not just with AI, but like the whole search and decision process that people have before choosing restaurants or whatever business is. It just changed. There's so many more touch points now. Before, like, was just Google, get a click. Most of the time you get like a booking. Now people just jump on the site. They want to see exactly what you're offering. And then they look at reviews, and then they look at the photos, and then they look at all these different elements before choosing. And so digital PR, and I would say real PR, they're really important in this process. But how do you balance all of this? Like, is it part of your strategy, or you just focus on the PR side?
It's definitely, you need to look at all those different aspects. Like, I think of it as a big PR being part of a broader communications strategy. So you've got your PR earned media, you've got your social media, you've got your website, you've got your Google ratings, you've got all your online listings, you've got third-party apps like Seconds, you've got your email marketing. That's actually a very powerful marketing tool.
I agree. Email marketing is really powerful.
Yeah, I would actually put email marketing up there as strongly as social media.
Yeah, but also you need to have a good list of emails, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you need to build that up over time. You need to make sure that it's easy for people to sign up via bookings or on your website. And they're all complementary. Then you can send out an EDM set. If you get a PR win, you can put that in your EDM and you can post it on your social media.
And that's beautiful. Also, it is about building authority for websites, for restaurants, restaurant owners, but also about building community, because food and restaurants are like part of communities.
Absolutely.
What is like your approach? How do you balance that? It's like, so how do you actually get community people within the restaurants through the digital PR?
So how do we get more people in?
Yeah, so like communities. It's like, so, I mean, Omar, you also been working with different communities, right? There's Italian community, the Greek community, Chinese community, all of those different elements. So is the digital PR helping bringing in communities, or just a broader communication that is not tailored to communities?
Yeah, you definitely need to tailor it to your community and make sure you're reaching the right people. And Facebook ads is another great way to reach new customers, because then you can actually tailor it to demographics and age groups and location. And you can focus on local media to get in your local area, so local newspapers and local.
I guess you need to stay
groups.
true to yourself, who you are, and then you will attract the people that will like you, and they will be like you. So yeah, that's the most important thing. It's hard to attract somebody else, or specifically, like, you need to be true to yourself first.
Yeah. Like what I was trying to get is like Melbourne is really diverse around communities, and we got a lot of offerings. So of course, like the communication strategy that you use can help attracting different people that, for example, that never tried, I don't know, the Chinese cuisine, or it could be something different, right? So us as Italian, we just love food. But I was like, yeah, it's community based and expressing like the voice, right? Is that what digital PR is about? Helping people find their own self and communicate that to people.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Telling your story, describing what makes you different from others, and reaching the right people.
Yeah, that's great. That's what we call branding, really, in marketing.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely love your approach. It is a beautiful way of telling stories and getting that exposure. So, Julia, if you could talk to your younger self, do you have any advice, or what would you say to her?
Oh, say back yourself and follow your passions and trust your gut feeling. Yeah, that was something I learned to do during the pandemic, because I really had no one to tell me what to do or no one else to rely on. So I discovered that if I thought about something for long enough, I would reach the point where I would just make a decision. I know that was right. And that was not something I did back when I was working for government, because there was always somebody with decision-making authority that would tell me what to do. So I never had to make any decisions, really. I did, but then they could always be overturned by the next level up. But when you're a restaurant owner or you're running a business like I am now, there's no one telling you what to do. just got to trust yourself. So yeah, I would, and I wish I'd started doing that sooner. So yeah, that would be my main advice. Of course, you don't just make these decisions in a vacuum. You need a strong team of people that you trust to ask their advice, but ultimately just back yourself and trust your gut.
That's beautiful advice. And finally, Julia, finish this sentence. Hospitality to me means
Community.
I love it. Because that's what we are doing here. We're building community in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, it's like food. I love food. We all love food, but you can eat food in your kitchen table by yourself. That's not hospitality. That's just food. Hospitality means bringing people together.
Thank you so much, Julia. It was a real pleasure having you and understanding all the fascinating world of PR.
Thank you. It's been a great chat.
Grazie mille. Such a pleasure.
Grazie a voi.
Grazie a te. Hey guys, thanks for watching the episode. I'm gonna see you in the next one.
Welcome to Dining Room Stories with Domar and Andrea, where we take you behind the scenes of the restaurant business world with stories and conversation that inspire.